That is our apple pie meets porridge. That is our apple cinnamon oatmeal bars. They look fabulous. They smell incredible. Look at that. Look how moist that is in there. Look at that. Look at that. Look how moist. That is sensational. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we're making a healthy one. Another healthy one. We've got some rolled oats and we're going to make an apple cinnamon oat bar. It's absolutely delicious, good on the go, good for breakfast. So let's show you how to do it. Come on. Okay, very straightforward then. In here, rolled oats. So we're going to chuck all our dry ingredients in there. Then we're going to mix the wet and chuck it in here. We've got salt and spices there, look. Our cinnamon, our nutmeg. We've got baking powder. We've got walnuts. We've got raisins. So that's straightforward. There we go. Give that a little shufty round. And it looks like muesli. Fantastic. One side. Now today we will be using this tin, which is about a 9.5 by 7.5. Fantastic little tins that I like for this type of oat bar, but you can use an 8x8, not a problem. Okay, but you know, I like a longer tray for this. It's easier for when you're cutting, you know, rather than cutting all squares. Just the bars look a bit better, but you know, that's preference, that's up to you. Okay, trays everywhere, tray on there. So I'm just going to mix some wet up in there and then we're going to grate some apples. And I've got Granny Smith's, but you can use anything you like. In there, eggs. Maple syrup. I'm using Canadian maple syrup. You can use honey. You know, but I really like maple syrup for this kind of recipe. In there, a little bit of vanilla. Alright, just give that a little beat up, beat those eggs in. And then in there, milk. And then we want a couple of tablespoons of coconut oil. 1, 2. Right, what I'm going to do is tip the wet into the dry before grating my apples. It's irrelevant really, but I'm going to tip that in there and it can already be starting to soak into those oats whilst I crack on with the apple. One side. Apples then. I've got Granny Smith's. You can either grate them with the skin on, not a problem, or you can take the skin off and grate them. And that's what we're going to do. Grate your apple in there. And the other one. Okay, now in the recipe it will have a couple of tablespoons of applesauce. Now I don't have applesauce and I ain't going to worry about having applesauce. I'll leave it in the recipe, so if you wanted to add a couple of tablespoons of applesauce for extra flavour, please feel free. What we have to do with this apple, we don't want there's enough moisture there without having all this moisture. So all we're going to do is a light squeeze. And that's our apple juice coming out of there, obviously. But we don't want all that. Now, we do not want to squeeze the life out of it. Okay, it's a light squeeze, and then it's chuck it in there. Okay, and we're going to stir it in a minute. So whatever you do, do not try to wring it out completely. We want moisture, we want apple, but we don't need all that. That's going to make our bars too soggy at the bottom. We don't want that. There should be enough to cook off there. Now you make sure you've got your oven on. Oven wants to be on about 175. And it's a big stir in. Stir the apple through. Get it all in there. Now you can use any apples. I'm using Granny Smith's, as you can see. But you know, you can use any eating apple. Anything you fancy. So there we have it. What we're going to do is leave that 10 minutes to absorb most of that fluid in there. We want those oats to take that on before we start baking. So just leave it 10 minutes. So I've decided, I've just changed the menu, as you do. I have just ground up in the blender some flax seeds. We want a couple of tablespoons of flax seeds in there. That's going to give us some fibre and structure in our bar. Good for you. Get it stirred in, come on. Super healthy, this. Now, for all those people that don't want to do dairy, you know, you could actually mix this with water. Okay, we'll leave that another 5 minutes and then we're ready to go. Okay, good enough. Take the tin that you're going to use and we're going to chuck our mix in there. So in we go. And then it's a smooth it out the best you can. Just smooth it down the best you can. Now you need to push it down, but do not compress it. Just push it down enough for it to settle. You know, people make all sorts of mistakes when they start making bars like this. They squash the life out of it, you know, and they get this really compressed bar. But you know, we want to be able to have a nice loose bar that we can just enjoy. A bit cakey like, really, but not cake. Right, that is going in the oven for about 30-35 minutes. So we've had about our time. What we're looking for this is we don't dry it out. All you've got to do is touch the center. If the center's quite firmed up, it will cool down, it will set. As you can see, it's quite set up, it's quite firm. But as you can see, look, we've still got a bit of give in there. That is perfect oatmeal bar. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to mix up a glaze like we normally do. And we'll put a glaze on there because it's as dull as heck. So it's a straightforward glaze. We want a couple of tablespoons of our maple syrup. Want about a teaspoon of coconut oil and about half of vanilla, and we give that a mix, and that is our wonderful glaze. How easy is that? Now, like we said at the start of making this, use honey if you don't have maple syrup, not a problem. So it's a case of get your glaze on there. Now the glaze is going to soak into the top, obviously, a little bit, but you know, that is being transformed already. I mean, look at this, it's as dull as heck. There you go. Just leave it for about 10 minutes, let it go completely cold, and then we're going to figure a way of getting it out of there. Okay, it's had about 10 minutes. It's still very warm actually. Get yourself a tray, turn it over. I'm going to take that out of there. Whew, this is hot. We're going to take that out of there and put it back on that tray to cool completely. Oh, it smells incredible. Oh yes please. Oh, look at that. On there. On there. On there. So just leave that, let it cool completely. I can't wait to get into that. It smells fantastic. Okay, that is cooled down enough for me. I don't know, but if you're like me, I get impatient when it comes down to waiting. I can't wait till it goes completely cold. I don't mind a little bit of warm. Oh, it is very, very soft. Oh, that is how I like it. Oh, in there. In there. Oh, yes, please. In there. Now we're making it into bars, so come on. I think down there. And I think that is our apple cinnamon oatmeal bar. Now I can tell you now, it smells amazing. It really does. Let's just put some air in between here. That is our apple pie meets porridge. That is our apple cinnamon oatmeal bars. They look fabulous. They smell incredible. Come on, let's give them a taste. Look at that. Look. Look how moist that is in there. Look at that. Look at that. Look how moist. That is sensational. Wow. Come on. Oh. Oh. That is absolutely delicious. Wow. It's not too sweet actually. You know, the apple in there is not very sweet. It's not bouncing through there. You can taste the cinnamon. It's nice and sweet, moderately, very moderately, you know, very tasty. You've got the oats in there, you know the apple's there. It's like an underlying flavour. But you know, if you wanted to boost it, you definitely got to put applesauce in there. A couple of tablespoons. Really boost it up. And you can taste the walnuts. It's superb. That is delightful. That is ridiculously good. And look there, we got a bit of green in there. That works wonders actually. Leave the skin on. Give your apples a wash. Grate the skin in. It is absolutely amazing. It's even cake-like. It's delicious. It's superb. It's healthy. You know, for me, it makes me want to slap some custard on there. Oh, it's delicious. So good. Really like that. That is a fantastic recipe there. That is apple pie meets porridge. Superb. That is our apple cinnamon oatmeal bars. Delicious. Fantastic breakfast prep or on the go. Superb. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to tell your friends. Share around. Share with your friends. Tell them how easy it is to make a breakfast prep like this. If you do like what we're doing, a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell. Catch you in the next video.